What I'm saying is that you're obviously somebody who's torn between the two.
Torn
Torn
in
in between.
between the two. Immediately.
Hello. Welcome back to our channel. If you don't know already, I'm Zar Intisar is my name. You all can call me Zar. And this is my beautiful husband, Joseph. Please, by all means, call him Mr. Joseph. Like, I know I'm kidding.
No.
Please call him Joe. We are back. And no, we are not talking about Married at First Sight right now, but we are talking about love. Okay.
Yeah.
We are talking about Love is Blind. Before we get into that, make sure that you guys bust down, subscribe to this channel. Okay. Let us know how you guys are feeling about this content. Let us know how you're feeling about Love is Blind. It's a lot to go over. I'm going to try my best. Joe is the
It's a lot to go
producer.
over. We're just gonna do because they put it out in bulk
Yeah, it's
and they
weird.
put out the first half and then they put out the second half that just came out.
Yeah.
We're just gonna cover the first half in this video and then we'll come back and do the second half
After
all
we
together.
complete it. Yeah. So first things first, bust down, subscribe to this Mammy Tapping channel. We are so close to getting to our goal of 1,000 subscribers. And what did I say? 1,000 what? Did I say subscribers?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord Jesus, to 1,000 subscribers. And we want you guys to help us get there. So make sure that you're sharing our videos, sending it to people, talking mess with your people, okay, and letting us know how you feel because we love all back and forth. All discourse is good discourse. So I'm saying all that to say, in the spirit of discourse, I am not the greatest fan of Love is Blind, okay? I feel like the first season, I wasn't much sold on the couples, if I'm being honest. But Joe and
At
I
all.
watched it, right?
Yeah, we watched it.
We
It
watched
was
it.
kind of the pandemic phenomenon,
Yeah, yeah, it
It
did come
was
out then, didn't
Tiger
it?
King and all that other stuff,
Yeah.
So we watched it like everybody else watched it.
Right. So we could be in a loop or whatever the case may be. But what I want to say is, and what y'all want to stop doing on Love Is Blind that I don't like, and it really is objectification of people with different body shapes and different looks. Stop putting people who are plus size, have a little bit more to love on there, but not actually putting them on there. I
Yeah,
do not. I think that is so
and
low.
you know what I thought was weird this season? I thought that it was weird that there were a lot of it seemed like there was a lot of plus size women, but no plus size men.
But who cares if it was plus size women or men? None of them found a partner.
But that's what I'm saying. Like maybe if you were gonna
Oh,
do
if
it,
they were together.
try to,
Okay.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I think one, yes. Two, it's weird to me that you guys will put them on there because you're making the case that Love is Blind. If Love is Blind, why you ain't got
Nobody
somebody who
yeah.
is like in a wheelchair or
Yeah,
like, you
yeah.
know what I mean, like really or has some kind of like physical, maybe not deformity but physical ailment, or like, you know, one eye or a peg leg or something like that. Like, to me, is Love really blind if the person is still kind of a fucking six in the world?
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, and I think that's the other thing. Like the girls were talking at some point in one of the episodes, and they were saying, "Oh yeah, I just think that it's cool how all the guys are like really attractive," and it's just like that doesn't test the theory, the
at
Love is
all.
Blind theory. Like
At all.
you just get like the hottest 20 individual singles, and then you throw them on a show. I mean, that's just the real world, like all over. You know what I mean? Like you're not testing it. It's not consistent with the label of Love is Blind because you just paired a bunch of like beautiful people together and turned on cameras. I think it would be I think it would be more intriguing to watch if there was a real mix of people body shapes, heights, right? We talked
Heights,
about, you know, uh
smaller
yes,
people or abnormally tall
yes,
people.
that part.
You know what I mean? Like
Abnormally tall women, right?
abnormally tall
Abnormally
women.
shorter men, you know what I mean?
Like,
Stuff
is
like
this
that.
really Love is Blind, or is it let's talk to each other behind a wall?
Kind of, that's
It
kind
should
of,
be called The Pods.
yeah.
Because the
It's
love
much more
is
of that.
not blind. Because when these people see that y'all have tested this theory, and then these people see these people, and then they don't like them because of the way they look, and it's just like I cannot.
And then they backpedal out of it.
Let's get into these couples. So we're not even going to get into like the rigmarole, the back and forth, the dance that they do, right? All this like little dating. Let's get right into who pairs off.
Yeah.
Starting with who paired off first, which is Nick and Danielle. Danielle is a young woman who is obviously insecure, and she's a beautiful woman. But the biggest thing for me is that Danielle is insecure. I think that Nick to me has not shown me one red flag except for the fact that I think he's on the spectrum of love. Okay. Was that a song? Oh,
I
I'm
don't
thinking
know.
Sherry Dennis. Do y'all remember Sherry Dennis? Portrait of
No,
Love.
I have,
Yo, I
I
gotta
do
find that
not
song.
recall at
Oh
all.
my god, let me find it. But that's what I feel like. I feel like he's on the spectrum. However, I really do like the conversation and the banter that they had. I don't like that they rushed to say I love you though. I thought that was weird.
I feel like everybody on the show rushes to say "I love you" as a part. Like, I don't know if they're instructed to say it,
Yeah,
but
right.
we find out that they are in these pods for about a week, right?
Right. That's
And
what the guy said. Yeah.
so they're in these pods for about a week, and then it's like you have to propose and tell her you love her. And it's like, that's not real life.
That's
That's
not
not
real
that
life.
everybody. I mean, this is for 2 seasons now. Everybody comes on and everybody proposes at the end, and everybody is in love like
And it's
automatically in
weird.
7 days. Come
And I'm
on,
gonna tell
y'all.
you why that's weird, because we grew up in a time where you actually did just talk on the phone with people.
Right,
Like, you know what I mean?
right,
Like, you didn't necessarily have to see a motherfucker for you to be like into him or whatever the case
right.
may be. So it's like it's still far fetched to me that you would come spend an hour or two a day talk to a person. Like, are y'all texting when y'all get off? Like, you know what I mean? Like
And I think we should have more insight on that. Are they talking when
after that,
when they go back to their sleeping quarters, which we never really see? They just
they go home.
they right, they go
They
back,
go home.
they go back to somewhere because it's obvious that the pods are just connected to these green rooms,
Yeah,
these girl and guy
green rooms.
lounges,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's where they stay while they're filming, and
Yeah.
then they leave and go sleep somewhere, obviously. So we should be, I think we need more information about that. um but I think that everybody kind of rushes into the "I love you" thing,
Yeah, it's
and
weird.
Nick and Danielle were
The
no
first to
different.
do it.
Yeah, they were no different in that. And Nick strikes me as a nice guy.
I like Nick.
I feel like he's here for the process,
I
and I
agree.
feel like he kind of got screwed with Danielle.
Also agree, and I think that, and it's sad because Danielle was once a young woman. She was had a little bit more to love, and she lost a lot of weight, and sometimes that can affect your self-esteem in many ways, in many ways.
Yeah.
So she's dated a lot of people who haven't been the greatest to her. So I think that they're gonna, you could see them on the vacation, or on, yeah, they're going to Cancun trip, and how she got upset with him because he was talking to somebody.
Oh yeah,
And
he so they go out, they go meet with the couples once
well,
they're in.
he had to go alone
Right, he
because
had to
she
go
was
alone.
drunk.
Yeah, but it
She
was
did not
just with
have
the
a stomach
couples.
bug. She
Yeah.
was drunk.
Yeah, she was on the
Which,
floor.
girl, it's okay.
She was on the floor of the bathroom eating a piece of toast. The last
Looks
we
like
saw her.
drunk to me.
Yeah.
So,
But he covered for her,
he did.
which wasn't even needed in
He
my.
covered for her, and he was messy for her, and he brought back the tea piping hot, and she didn't deserve not near none of it.
She sure didn't, because it went from like this pillow talk moment.
Yeah, which we were proud of. It kind of made us like warm and fuzzy,
Right, right,
because that's what we do.
right. So it went from this pillow talk moment to like this blindsided argument about nothing.
Absolutely,
And
the
I was
fuck
just sitting,
nothing.
he had to be thinking what's happening, because I was thinking, what's happening? Like, how do we get here? It was just like, this is gonna be a problem. If you do this again, I'm telling you right now. And I was just like, it went from like, girl, this is what happened, to like, I was in the closet crying, and I was pissed at you. It is just it
And like,
didn't make.
how would you feel if I went out and you were in the closet crying for 3 hours? Girl, are you crazy? First of all, white women, and I mean this with all due respect, do y'all watch yourselves back and think, look at that white woman weaponizing her tears? Do y'all look
No,
back at stuff like that? It is what she weaponized them against that man.
it was
To
weird.
say, like, what if I was like, how would you feel if you were crying? Like, I'm a grown ass man. If you went somewhere, the last thing I would do is cry.
Was and
Like,
that had to be
are you
what he was
kidding
that had
me?
to be what he was thinking.
But when he walked off, and I'm not in Joe knows I'm not a proponent for people ending conversations like that. Like, I'm like really one of those people. Like, I need a minute. You need to communicate that. When he walked up and was like, "I'm done," guess who was done too? Man,
Yeah.
get it. Shut up. The fact that he ain't say, if you don't shut the fuck up
He
with this
told her,
stupid
and
ass
he
shit, we go
told
to
her like,
bed.
I don't know what this is, but it's toxic as hell. I don't even know what's happening right now.
And I'm glad he called it a thing.
I'm glad he
You
did.
need to go to therapy. Iyanla, get Iyanla on the line.
Please do.
Okay,
Please do.
'cause
Because
I'm
that
not
was
with
weird.
it. I'm not with it. But okay, so let's move on because they were great, but we can move on from them.
Yeah.
Let's move to Shayne and Natalie.
Which
So
I kind of like Shayne and Natalie. And it seems like the other couples like Shayne and Natalie as
you
well.
know who don't like Shayne and Natalie?
Shayna.
Shayna. Okay, Shaina, and Shaina looked just like one of our friends. It is very, 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 very
It's very
creepy.
weird.
It's I almost thought it was her, and I was gonna say, "Oh, you bitch!"
That would have been weird.
Why don't you tell us? But it wasn't her, and she actually had about 15 years on her friend, and I'm not
Yeah.
sure,
She
but
does.
she looks like it.
Yeah.
So, and I mean that with all due respect, Shaina. But she is really upset, and I want to talk about this dynamic, Shayna, Shayne, Natalie triangle. It was very clear that Shayne was physically. Shayne and Shayna was giving girl six.
Oh,
It
for
was
sure.
given 1-800 we are 18.
And you know what? Let's put a pin in it right there because I have a theory for what they should do about this. I believe that, and this might be just me flexing a musical muscle because I use my ears a lot more than the average person, right? But I believe that the voice gives away too much. I believe that you should not only, if you're going to do this love is blind thing, I believe that you should also scramble their voices. You ever watch the documentaries and they saying we got an
You're like,
account
whoa,
about it?
whoa,
Yeah,
whoa,
and
whoa,
it's
whoa.
like I was in the mall
Yeah.
and I can't even do it. But I think they
Yes.
should also scramble the voices because sometimes the voice gives you can hear a voice and kind of be like, okay, I kind of, or you can be swayed by the voice, right? Even if you're not picturing this person in a super positive light, you can still be swayed by somebody's voice, the bass in their voice, the sultriness in their voice,
Yeah.
the happiness in their voice. Like those those sound waves trigger many different
Things.
thoughts and
Yeah.
things in one's body and mind, right? So I think if we're gonna go blind, let's go all the way blind because the dynamic between
Because Shayne liked
Shayne,
Natalie's voice too,
right,
but he
but it was
respected her
yes,
voice.
because her voice was given respect,
And you will
and
respect
you will
me.
respect me, and I feel like Shayna's voice was given like girl six.
Literally.
So he
Like, can you imagine somebody you don't know or have only known for a couple of hours coming in and asking you, like, what do you have on? Are you kidding me?
and but that's the type of energy that Shayna was giving off, and he was leaning right into it. And
She's a
and
weirdo.
he would immediately code switch when he got into a pod with Natalie because I say all the
Oh,
time,
when she was when he thought
oh my
it was
god,
her
he
and it was
thought she was her, and his whole because he doesn't even approach her with that type of energy. And I say all the time, do men are really simple and they will only do as much as you let them do,
and that's a
right?
fact.
And so if Shayna is giving I'm down for whatever and it's girl six vibes, Shayne is gonna lean into that and be like, well, what you got on? What
Right.
what's under that, right? Natalie never gave those vibes. So he never even approached her like that.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I think it's gotta be something a little bit more with the covering the voices.
I just think that And Shayna is giving a girl from last year whose name I don't remember, but who cares? I don't want to remember her name. That's so mean. Oh my god, I'm sorry, guys. I'm moody today. I apologize, but I don't really like her name like that. I mean, like her like that. And I feel like Shayna's going to give the same thing, like this, like real. And I don't want to say home wrecker vibe, but
Well,
like
Shayna is definitely giving homewrecker vibes, especially because we see the preview for part 2, and she's reaching out or trying to meet up with Shayne, which is like, what are you doing? Who's an engaged man now?
I want to like Shayne, right? Like I don't dislike him. I guess the issue I have with him is the same issue that the other lady Iyanna had. Was that he just a little too bro for me? I feel
Oh, for
like
sure he
he
is.
does a lot, you know what I mean? And his voice is like
Yeah.
and it's very and his teeth do this thing like I, it's a lot. Okay, it's a lot, and I think that um I think that Iyanna said something very real when she said Natalie is our Shayne. So it makes sense
Oh, it definitely makes
that
sense.
they are together. And honestly, when I watch them, I do like what I see.
I do too.
I like what I
I
see.
do too.
You
And
know
if
what
I
I
had to
mean?
take a vote, I think that they would make it past the end of the show.
We're gonna see if he don't get caught up cheating with Shaina. But let's talk about Shaina and her
We ain't thinking about Shayne.
and Kyle. So the other option that Shaina had was Kyle. Kyle actually proposed to Shaina first with his mother's ring, which is stupid as hell. And Kyle, you stupid as hell for that. You don't even know this her.
You don't even know her.
Like
Why
I'm not
disrespect
saying
your mom
don't
like
give.
that? Like I
So
would.
you don't like your mama.
That's is that what you're telling us? Like
So you have no respect for your
you
mother
would give your mother's
because
ring to a woman that you met 7 days ago,
she turns my stomach.
who's
The,
a horrible person.
and the
Like,
problem is that people think he's obviously a really nice guy. Not to say that Shayne isn't. Shayne is a nice guy, but Shayne going to treat you how you want to be treated. See,
yeah,
the difference is that women operate with the golden rule, men operate with the platinum rule. So you want to be a hoe, men going to treat you like that.
straight
You know
up,
what I mean? It ain't up to him to decide who you want to be.
right,
You know what I mean? I'm gonna just treat you who you present as.
right.
You know what I mean? I'm not gonna try to bring you out of that. I'm not gonna try to. Oh, you got the potential to be a housewife, but you ain't one now. So I'm not gonna treat you like that.
Yeah,
And I think that that's exactly the case here. I think that
for sure.
Kyle sees it as an opportunity for her to be something else and extra or to be on the show.
Yeah,
And Shayne saw it as you want to sit up here and talk about what you got, and we ain't even talk. Y'all didn't even talk about nothing
they wasn't
except
talking
for
about
what you
nothing.
was wearing. He would be like, "Oh, that sounds so good." Like y'all are weird
I mean, their whole conversation was like physical.
the
Like
entire
the whole I just want to
time,
touch you so bad right now. Oh my
right?
god, that was their whole pie thing. Every time we
Never
saw,
do that again. And all you bitches better have closed your ears when my man was talking like that. I fucking come out
I
there
was
and fight
trying
you.
to imitate. I was
I'm
trying
not
to
fucking
imitate.
playing.
I was trying to imitate Shayne. That's all he was doing.
And that's what it sounded like too.
That's what
That's
he
funny
sounded
though.
like.
But I don't like that you did it.
Oh, okay. I tried.
But no, really, I thought it was kind of like like what are y'all doing? Like, what is this life that y'all living or whatever the case may be? I think that so she doesn't really like him, right? Or she doesn't like him as much as she likes Shayne, but I think she can tell that Shayne is a bro white boy.
I think that similar to the lady from last season who we don't remember her name, I think it was the same thing where she just didn't want to get left
Out.
hanging.
Okay.
That was it. And I think that
She wanted to be picked first.
She wanted to be
She was
picked.
salty that Natalie got
Yeah.
picked over her and that he doubled down on it and said, like, look, me and her got a better connection.
Yeah.
You look so salty, you have egg on your face. And that was after another man had proposed to you.
Yep.
You're a weirdo. God bless.
And I think the only reason why she went ahead with Kyle is because
she wants to be on TV.
She wanted to not be left out. So.
And that's really it, which is fine because then they got to pick me spirit together.
Yeah.
But they get to the wherever they at, Cancun or whatever the case may be, they don't touch each other, don't talk to each other. He trying to be nice, and he recognizes that she's not that into him.
Yeah.
Which she isn't. You know what I mean? And she gets on a motherfucking flight and leaves.
Which was so.
I thought that was big of her.
Fucked up.
I know. I liked it. Girl, leave. We don't want to see you either. Have a good day. Because had that other chick on the other show did the same thing, I'd have been happy about that.
Who?
Voldemort.
Oh, you talking about Married at First Sight?
Yeah. Like if I like the energy, like I'm not gonna lie, like you know what I mean. But this
my thing is then don't
You should never
Don't
say yes.
don't say yes. Don't take his mother's ring and
Yeah.
then go and then have him travel to Cancun only for you to be there for 24 hours and then bounce. Like that's the
Yeah.
fucked up part. We could have did this back at the crib.
The question is, do you think that production told him he got to go too, or could he stay?
No, I think they said you need to stay.
They was
I
like,
think
no, he wasn't in none of the filming though.
he wasn't,
But I'm saying, like, do you think he got to stay in his room, or do you
I
think
think
they
he
were
was
like, we
there.
getting our money back?
No, I think he was. Nah,
For
because it's not
real.
Lifetime, it's Netflix. So I think
Okay.
they let him. I think
Yeah,
they
you
let
might
him.
be right. You might be
If
right.
it was Lifetime, they'd have just been like, all right.
But they have a conversation when they get back, and she's like, "Well, the religion thing, I just can't pass on. If you think Shane is going to church with you, stupid,
Yo,
you're a goddamn fool."
I think Shayna is pump faking on her whole situation.
It's not even up to
She's
date.
lying about. I mean, it's like it's similar to what we were talking about with the other show where people make up these things. These women is making up these stories about these dogs.
Y'all
and
wake up to
why
tell
we
lies.
can't? Why I can't move into the apartment with you because of my dog, or why I can't do this because Shayna. It was religion for her. It was like, oh, it was just. I think this is the issue because guess what? She never had a bump in the road about with Shayne. Religion.
They never talked about religion.
They never talked about it. She didn't care. She didn't ask them. Like it was never a thing.
And you don't think that's a problem? That you didn't even have the conversation with this human being?
So it was.
But
It was
yet
another
you want
lie.
to go and mess his situation up with somebody else?
Yeah.
Like it's just all very weird. What's also weird to me is that we are in the 21st century, and being equally yoked is something that doesn't necessarily mean you reading the Bible and I am too.
But being equally yoked, that's not even it. Being equally yoked doesn't mean we both going to church
That's
to
what I'm
somebody's
saying.
church every Sunday.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It might just mean
But
that I respect your spirituality. It's just
she
weird
was.
to me.
I think the biggest thing was that she was using it as an excuse. It was just an opportunity for her because
if you was,
it's clear that Shaina is not a devout
girl,
nun.
please, you,
Like,
but that's what. Did I not just say ain't nobody in neighborhood was a house and
like,
homosexuals? And I mean that with all due respect because people be out here looking for salvation any way that they can get it. You sitting in here, you so holier than now, talking about what you got on, doing all this sexual stuff with a man you don't even know. And not to say that your sexuality should be. I'm saying if you thumping that Bible like you say you are, you dead wrong. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
and y'all,
yeah.
and I don't give a damn what y'all say in the comments. How about that?
but it's but I think I'm not even gonna give her the legitimacy of even making like it really had anything to do with religion because it didn't. It's just very clear to me that with Shaina, it has nothing to do with religion. In reality, she was
you out here
just
taking the Lord's name in vain.
Yeah, she was just pump faking and she was just bullshitting him, and she found a reason to skip out on him or found a reason to really make a mountain out of a molehill. That's
the
all.
Lord would not like this, and I think it's really jacked up. I think it's weird. I think if you think that any God that you serve wouldn't just want you to find a human that serves you in the manner that you need to be served. And yeah, that might be going to church. Like, don't get me jacked up. But I think that
Shaina ain't going to church every Sunday.
That's not her, y'all.
Yeah, I'm just we're not
unless the church got mimosas.
Yeah, Shaina. I'm sorry. I don't know Shaina, but I don't buy it.
I don't need to know Shaina. I know Shaina's type. I know her flock. Okay, and you're not gonna get me to believe it. I'm just. But I'm glad we don't have to talk about her any longer. Let's move on to. I want to talk about Deepti and Shake. This is really a fascinating couple to me.
Yeah, it is.
Like truly, truly fascinating. And that's because both of them are brown people, Indian, I believe. I hope I'm not wrong. So if I am, please forgive me.
Yeah, I think they both.
And Deepti is a beautiful young woman, beautiful young Indian woman. Her and Shake are similar in that they have never really dated people from their cultural background.
Yeah.
Okay. And that could be in large part because of where they grew up. You know what I mean? But I think it's this is really a tale and why it's so important to make sure that your children are around people like them.
Yeah.
Because the fact that he come from an Indian woman and can't see the beauty in Indian women is really fascinating.
Yeah, I'm not
Or he
gonna.
aligns it with like my mama and my auntie is weird to me.
I see aligning it with your mom and your auntie isn't a problem to me. I love my mom and my auntie, and people
And I
thought
look
people
like
thought that she looked like
yeah,
my auntie. So
that's true.
to me, you should be looking like you should be desiring somebody who is reminiscent of your mama. Like, you know what I mean? That's the woman who birthed you. You
That
know what I
sounds
mean?
weird, but
But
you're absolutely.
we
You're right.
understand what that is. You
I
know what I
think you're
mean?
right.
Like,
I think what you're saying is like if I love this woman, your mother,
yeah.
for all these years,
Why wouldn't I
when I
want
see
somebody?
somebody in the image who
Right.
has an image that reflects that,
Right.
it's not far fetched for me to want to love that person
Right.
too.
Right. And I think that there's something wrong inversely when you come from a certain background and you have absolutely no desire to entertain anyone from that background.
It's it,
That's I think
that's what's
there's that's
scary.
something about that is I just think it needs to be peeled back in a
Yeah.
therapy session and dug deep
Oh,
into.
deeply, because not to say that black people don't have like a deep rooted culture. We obviously do, but I mean, a lot of us, if you're not like from the islands, you're not African, or whatever the case may be, you really can't put your hands on your culture. Culture, you know what I mean? In a way that maybe an Indian person could. Like all the traditions and everything. Like, and we have our own, don't get me wrong. But you understand what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's such a deep rooted culture and they try to be very intentional about making sure that their children are steeped in the culture as well. And I think that this is just showing us how people can assimilate to a culture and lose themselves. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I think that Shake is a handsome man, so I can see that he will probably be out there, dating all types of women or whatever the case may be. He's hypersexual, which I think is very in vain, very vain. But also, if you know anybody who's foreign, they are very vain. Like, and I mean that with all due respect. I mean, like and he's not foreign, but I mean people who are first generation, second generation, or whatever the case may be. No, and y'all know who I'm talking to. Your parents are or your mother is constantly saying something about your look, your aesthetic, how you know what I mean. Constant. It's constant. So
Yeah.
I can understand how he's vain in the manner that he is, or whatever the case may be. But he was big too at one time. So even when he was asking all the women about their size and stuff like that, I'm like,
He said I think I was projecting. He was reflective in the sense
he was
in two
reflective.
ways where he realized that was vain because
Yeah.
he said that. He said I thought I was a little embarrassed by that
Mm-hmm.
after I did that, and I think I was projecting. And then he also talked about his dating experience and how he thinks that uh Deepti
Deepti.
is a very beautiful woman and he's never leaned into his culture, and he feels like this was an opportunity for him to actually not do what he had been doing and go for something different that he had. I guess I don't know whether it was his surroundings like we talked about, or how he was, I don't know, his friend group, whatever. But he was also aware that, like, I think she's beautiful and I want to do something. I want to change up my bad habits of just like cutting out a
Yeah.
whole population of people because of their skin color or whatever.
I think what I do say, what I will say is that I think that if they give it a chance, it'll be great.
I think so too. I'm
I think
worried.
that.
I'm I think that I think that he's not a dumb guy
No.
and he knows a good woman. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that he feels like DT is a good woman and
He's
is
just
good
not
for him.
attracted to
He's
her.
just not attracted to her, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that's going to make him run for the hills. He might do some fucked up shit, but I don't
I think
think
he's gonna do some fucked
I
up
think
shit.
he is too. I'm not going to put that on him, but I would be more surprised if he left. I think he's going to try to keep her around cuz he knows that she's a good woman and he knows that in his mind sometimes people will date somebody and go, "I know I should be doing right by them and should be with them, and but I'm still in this fucked up place, so I'm going to do this fucked up shit." and I think that he might be
Child,
that.
if that ain't
You
the
know what I mean?
truth. If that
I
ain't the truth.
I think he might be that.
Okay, so we'll leave them be and move on to now. This is a controversial one too. So we have a bit of a love triangle, or a bit of a love. What shape got six sides? Oh, a hexagon. How did I not know
Hexagon.
that? Hexa. Okay, so let's talk about this hex. Is it considered a hexagon if only two people are being vied for, or
No,
is it like a triangle?
that's
Triangle. It's
just
like
that's
the.
just a weird
I
a
did
weird.
it.
Yeah, I don't know.
But so basically, we have Jarette and Iyanna. And then we have
Mallory, we talking
Mallory
about?
and Sal. So this is really a fascinating thing. Jarette, Iyanna, and Mallory all had connections. I let me tell y'all something. And just as sure as my name is what it is, and I said this to Joe, and I don't know what this means about I don't know what this means, but did I not tell you when we was watching it? He gonna pick Mallory, and I said he's gonna pick Mallory not because of their connection, because he knew Mallory wasn't black, and I don't give a
I
what y'all
think
say.
I think
Mm.
I felt like he was gonna pick Mallory early on because going back to think I was thinking about the voice thing. Going back to the same way like Shayna was giving off this sultry vibe, like Mallory had not as plate girl sixes. Mallory has a
She
nice
has a
voice.
wonderful
She has a
voice.
nice voice and a a nice little
Yeah.
vibe with her voice, right? And I think Iyanna was
An
given
around the way girl.
yeah,
And
and
what
was
and
given
either
like
way,
homey
she sounded
vibes.
not she sounded black, and then the other girl did not. And that's just really what I think. I don't care. I think that this was some colorist stuff. And I know it's weird because he couldn't see it, but that's how deep rooted I think it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Like,
think
you know what I mean? Because even when we so they have this love triangle, but Mallory has a deeper connection with Sal. Okay, Sal also has a wonderful voice, and he's really has a really mild temperament. He also had a really deep connection with Deepti as well, but ultimately deciding that Mallory was probably the one that he should have moved forward with.
Sal's
And
a little boring.
Sal is a real human. Everybody ain't on all the time.
Oh,
Every man ain't on all the time. Like
well,
that's real. Like, you know what I mean? For him to show
I
up in
didn't
the
say
way
he
that he
wasn't
does,
entertaining
but I
enough.
don't think that he's boring. I think that he's himself. I think boring is objective. Like, you know what I mean? It's subjective. Like what is boring to you may not be boring to somebody else. And I
True.
think
I
that
just think he's
to
boring to
you
me.
he may be
Yeah,
boring,
yeah.
right?
I wasn't saying
Right.
he needed to be Steve Harvey. I
But I'm
just was
saying
saying
like I'm
I'm just
saying
saying I'm just
inversely,
saying even in their interactions, she looks bored when she talks to him. So he was
I
giving
think
it.
she looks disappointed when she talks to him. Which bored, disappointed, they could all
Yeah,
probably fall under the same
yeah,
emotion.
yeah.
But I think that it's fascinating watching them, and then Iyanna and Jarette. I think one of the things that I hate to see, and this might sound so bad, I hate seeing women like a men more than the men like the woman. It's a recipe for
Who you
disaster.
talking about?
Iyanna and Jarette.
Oh, okay.
It's a recipe for disaster, and I'm saying that for all the women out there. He has to love you more than you love him. He just has to. It's just I don't know. It's
I
science.
don't believe that they love each other
But
at all.
even like, you got to be with somebody who even likes you, desires you, wants you more than you want them if you are a woman. Because men don't have the ability, and y'all gonna fight me on this. I know y'all like to tussle, but I don't believe that men have the ability to love unconditionally. You know what I mean? Women are the only people who have the opportunity to love something that is of them, but they don't even know them. You know what I mean? To build a connection with something that is so otherworldly, so just uh, a man can't do that until it's like physically here, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I can see this thing, life is happening around you or whatever the case may be, but nobody knows that deep seated feeling like a woman. And I think that because of that, that grows this unconditional ribbon of love that women are able to provide, because we have the ability to nurture in a way that a man may not to say that men can't be nurturers, but to say that in a way that they cannot be, right? At least I
I
think
think the
so.
problem here is that she was clearly just his second choice. And I think really that's what the issue
Cut me
is.
off and tell the truth.
Yeah, I think that's really the issue is
Period.
that like
I was being nice.
I've seen various different dynamics in relationships, and some work for, whatever works for the couple works for the couple, and different things work for different people. I think my issue here is that it was very clear that she was like a Iyanna, meaning it was very clear that Iyanna was like a hand me down to him. Like he really wanted Mallory. He went for Mallory, and then after he picked himself back up and dusted himself off, he was like, "Well, Iyanna's still here,"
And
that
Iyanna should have
to
said
me is
no. And that broke
yeah.
my heart because it's like,
But that shows why she's here, right? Everybody's here for a reason, and everybody has whatever thing that's blocking them from making
that
that
broke my
connection,
heart.
whether it's be, commitment fears or whatever.
But you said that you think they're gonna be all right.
I do think that, because
You think that a lot
similar to Shake, I think that Jarette is also not a dumb person, and can see the value in a person that he knows, like, she's probably good for me. Some
But you
people
don't
can make
think,
that decision. Like,
but
I
that's
think
so one-sided, right? Because relationships are two-way streets, right? So it's an ecosystem, the relationship. You don't think that. So one, you're right? I don't get me wrong. He may recognize that she's like great, right, for him. But on the other side of that is the repercussions from the decision in the first place, right? So now there's something deep seated that has been planted. You were never a first choice. So now she got it. That's back here. You understand what I'm saying? Like she already know what it is. That's in the back of her mind every day.
she's not in a
So,
place where she values herself enough
but
yet.
that's my point. That's why I'm saying I'm not saying him. I'm saying the relationship working.
She's
right?
gonna stay. Look, that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
I'm not advising them to stay together. I'm saying I see the flaws in both of them, and I think they're gonna stay together.
Let me tell you something else. It's so many nuances with this whole situation that I don't like. So Mallory goes on with Sal. Sees Sal, doesn't find him attractive, right? And then they meet each other they finally see each other for the first time. Mind you, Iyanna is a beautiful young woman. You know what I mean? I understand her little hangups about maybe her body or whatever the case may be, but she's a really pretty woman. Like a naturally stunning
just
woman.
Gives me homie vibes. And that might be a thing why she's kind of here too,
Why you think she give homie vibes?
I can't, it's not always something that you can like put your finger on.
What makes a homie for you?
I said that from the beginning of seeing their interaction. It just felt like they were friends, which is good. Like, you need to be friends with your person, but you also need to see them in a romantic light, right? Like, I feel like my wife is my best friend, but I also think that she's also incredibly sexy to me, and she's also very attractive to me, right? And I think that sometimes you can have a relationship where that part isn't there. And I think that that's what's happening with there. Like, they can hang out together, they can talk together, they could be friends together, but it's clear to me that he doesn't see her in that light.
Agreed. So they all meet one another, and Mallory and Jarette have a conversation that was completely inappropriate. And at least I felt like it. Did you feel like it was inappropriate? I don't know if inappropriate is the right word. Is inappropriate the right word, y'all?
So I would say I was uncomfortable with the conversation. So call it what you want to call it. Like,
I'm saying my husband couldn't handle conversation.
I was uncomfortable. I would have never walked over there. So like, it's just, I knew that it was going to be a problem the minute he decided to walk up to her. I knew, like, this is not going to end well.
But he didn't even give it like, cause I don't even have a problem with y'all, like, maybe even speaking. Like, that don't really bother me. But it's more the sit down, like, he ain't even get you the ring that you like, yeah, because you like gold.
Well, these are the things that come out, and those, like, this is why the conversation shouldn't happen.
But the reason why, like, I want to like Jarette, right? But Jarette is so basic. That's the word I want to use. Just a basic. You know what I mean? We talk about basic bitches. He's basic. Okay. He's also the guy, you sit up in her face, you say all this stuff to her. Well, you like what you see? Like, I mean, do I look like what you thought? Like, who give a fuck? You know what I mean? Like, if you was a real one, like if you was the ultimate real one, you being around her like Shayne, because high key, he's the ultimate. Even though I don't like him, he something about him is mad real, you would be able to be in a situation and be like, I'm not. I'm like, no, I picked who I, you know what I mean? I made a good decision. I felt like I made a solid decision. How you doing? It was good to see you. I'm glad we got to finally meet face to face. You have a good time. You know what I mean? All that other stuff is other stuff. And it was right for the boy Sal to get in his feelings like, what's going on? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you could feel it on the TV. So
You could
I said,
feel
you they
it.
had to be, they had to feel awkward in the space because it was awkward watching it on TV. Like
But
just him walking over there to me was just like, this is not gonna. And then she didn't even had to say nothing. The way she was looking at him like he was a snack. Though she was giving him the eyes and all that, and I was just like, I
it's
don't even have to
tired.
hear their conversation. I just already know like somebody is not gonna
But
be
let me
well.
say this: as a black woman who believe that black women should date other outside their race, um, I'm tired of being watching black men on TV and black women and women who aren't black vying for the same man, and it always feels like we catching the short end of the stick. I'm unbelievably tired of it. I'm tired.
I think
I
that
think it's a tired plot. I think these mugs are tired. I think these men are basic, and it's really annoying. And I would love to see, and we see it sometimes, don't get me wrong, but I would love to see more of us just loving us. I don't know. I don't know. I think it's
I
tired. I
think
think it's basic as fuck.
it's something of the whatever is lacking there, whether it's a self-esteem thing or whether it's a security thing. I don't know what it is in Iyanna that allowed her to say yes to him after he told her all that stuff. Because let's like
It's all the way self
you
esteem.
see, when like he went and it's not like she didn't know. Like he told her all of this stuff,
He's sitting
and
up
then
there crying. I hate men.
she still decided to say yes and to show up and then to go on the trip with him and everything like that, even after having time to think about it. But that's why I said I think they're going to stay together because I think whatever that deficiency is in her is not going nowhere, and
Today.
he can see the value in her today, and I think that he's gonna try to hold on to her, and I think that she's gonna go along with it.
I ain't sold, and I think it's weird. And I think what's more weird is that they had a conversation about talking to exes, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't see no problem with like
Yeah, that was
anytime."
weird.
First of all, y'all buzz down and let me know if your person can talk to their ex. And let me tell you something.
But
I'm not talking about exes. Like I'm talking about ex, like your ex husband, your baby daddy. Obviously, those are people that may be exes that you need to talk to, right? Because you might have some kind of tie, whatever the case may be. But your ex boyfriend, you don't have to talk to none of your ex boyfriend. They don't even exist. For real, is it? Am I the only person who believe like once you, first of all, once you, and this might sound so elitist, and I don't care. I'm gonna say it anyway. Once you get married, most of the people that you dated get erased. It's like this never happened. I'm in a brand new life, right? So when people talk, when I always listen to people and they be like, you know, in they dating stages and they talk about like keeping their exes around and stuff like that, that shit is mad weird to me. Why? Because I was an ex that was kept around. It is weird.
Every ex gets erased once they are your ex. So
Nah,
I just
except for
don't I
me.
don't you or yeah. So I don't think that there's a in your relationship. I think my issue was it was very clear that Iyanna was not cool with it, and you were trying to debate her into being cool with it, right?
Right.
Because my thing is, it doesn't matter. You might be with a girl
And
who
you
is
might, and
fine
y'all
with
might
that,
be okay with that. Right.
and
That's
that's like I
true.
just
That's
said,
true.
whatever works for your relationship works for your relationship.
That's true.
Not in my, I'm not with it, right? So if I tell
Joe don't
you,
want a motherfucker to say,
let me tell you, we
let me
ain't even
tell,
got to talk about it.
oh God.
If I tell you that I'm not cool with it, it matters not whether you think, well, they used to call me and they used to tell me this and da-da-da.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And so him sitting at the table telling, and she's like, no, I'm not really, she's telling you like I'm not really cool with that. And you're like, well, I mean, I'm not gonna talk to her every day. Like, you shouldn't talk to her at all because your fiance is telling you that she's not cool with it. That's the where the issue lies, is respect the boundaries within that are created within your own relationship. And I feel like he was blowing through those boundaries.
Because he has no respect. And he might respect women.
Yeah,
It
that's
just
a
ain't
respect thing
Iyanna.
too. That's a
Because it's a
respect thing
respect
too.
thing. Because it
Yeah.
comes down to like, all right, you said it's a lot of shit Joe say that don't make no sense to me. None. But guess what? I respect them. and I respect my husband. And quite frankly, if it mean more to him than mean like the opposite means to me. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, straight up.
and it really should come down to that. Like, because sometimes, like you ever arguing and feel like in the middle of the argument, like I really don't even give a fuck. So at this point, I'm just arguing just to argue. I know it happens for me a lot, right? So I'm like in the middle of the argument, and I'm going back and forth, and then I had this moment where like, Zara, just shut up because you really don't care. You know what I mean? Like,
It's just really about
you don't
not
care.
only not just picking your battles, but picking your piece, right? Like
Picking your
I just
piece.
want I'm a pick piece, and if I if this person is as insignificant
As you
as
say they are.
as you say they're supposed to be, then it's nothing to argue about. You wouldn't be arguing with your spouse about somebody who's insignificant.
These are the facts. So that leaves us with Sal Mallory. I don't have that much to say except for Mallory is a weirdo. But I don't think Mallory is a weirdo. I'm saying that I'm losing weirdo very loosely. So please, I apologize, Mallory. What I'm saying is that you're obviously somebody who's torn between the two.
Torn
Torn
in
in between.
between the two. Immediately.
You're obviously somebody who's torn in between the two, right? But the reality is that you don't really like Sal like that. It's
And
unfortunate.
this is the third person, but this is again, right? We talked about it with Jarette, with Shake, and now Mallory. I think which is this is part of why they're here, I
And
think.
part of why this doesn't work.
Yeah. Part of why they're here, I think, is Mallory is the third person that we've talked about who I think sees this is probably who I should be with, and then also sees this is who I really want to be with. Like, and it might be a thing of like I've been doing the same thing and I'm trying to correct it, but I really want to be with.
Say that one more time.
I think she sees this is who I should be with in Sal,
Inside.
right? I think that's what she's thinking. And then I think she sees this is who I want to be with. Because she even made the point, like, my usual is Jarette. Like, Jarette really strikes me as a lot of the guys that I've dated in the past, i.e., why you probably shouldn't date him, right? And I think that that's the struggle that I see that Shake is dealing with, that Jarette is dealing with, that Mallory is dealing with. This thing of like, I'm trying to correct what I usually do, and it's this internal tug of war that it seems like that she's going through.
I don't know. I don't like this whole situation. I'm tired of black women being second fiddles. And this making me, I think I'm triggered by this situation. Even though I've never personally ever been in a situation like this, I still feel super triggered for the masses. I'm an empath, so I feel triggered for my ancestors. I feel like
It's hard to watch
it's
because
hard
you
to
seem like
watch.
Iyanna is just not getting it.
I
Not
don't even
valuing
think I don't want to,
herself.
but I don't want to put it all on her. I think that
It's not all on her, but it's just
I
sad
don't
because
want
she
to.
should leave.
Right. I wish I could put a little bit in her. You put a battery in her back,
Yeah.
but
Because like I said, he ain't going nowhere. Like, so it's going
well,
to be
he
on
ain't
her
going
to
nowhere
leave.
because he want to be seen.
He ain't going
He
nowhere because
probably a Leo.
Iyanna is fun. Iyanna is fun. She gives me
Yes,
fun.
she
So he's
is.
not going anywhere because Iyanna is probably a legitimate good
She is
time,
fun,
and she's cute and
and
all that.
she is cute.
Like, so he's not going anywhere because Iyanna, for all intents and purposes, is a great catch. That's why, because he's not stupid. That's why he's not going anywhere, and he feels like he also missed out on something. It's FOMO. So he like, I want to be a part, and I want to kick it with Iyanna. He's not going anywhere. So if Iyanna is gonna wake up to this situation, here's a question though:
Go
do you
ahead.
think that there is any room for their relationship to ever be on the up and up? Iyanna and Jarette, because she seems like she made the statement in the and I meant to write it down because I wanted to ask this. She made the statement of this is just how we started out. It's all about how we finish or something like that.
Well, that means she has this. She has the foresight
So that's
to
what I'm
see
saying.
things a
Do
different
you
way.
think that they could their relationship could ever be like on a up and up, like on a completely legitimate situation, far and away from the second fiddle shit?
Yeah, I do. I think that I
I
do.
wouldn't be surprised if it
I
wasn't. I
do.
wouldn't. It wouldn't surprise me.
I think that it's okay. I think I'm gonna be honest.
I think
I'm gonna
we've
be
seen.
honest. I
I
don't
think
think
we've seen weirder relationships start. You know what I
like
mean?
what?
I
Because you
got
wanted
a,
to give me a goddamn example. Because I don't know.
I got a personal one that I like. I want to give, but I don't know if I'm gonna get in trouble for giving it. Like where somebody in my family. I'll say this.
Oh
Some
God, don't do it.
okay.
No, no, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Somebody in my family started out dating another person in my family, ended up with their sibling, and now they're married, and they've been married for 1,000 years.
Oh, you could say that.
So what
You
I'm
could say
saying
that.
is like we've seen weirder
Because that
starts to
wasn't that. Yeah.
relationships, than this.
But
So
no, I don't. It's not that I don't think that this is weird. I think that this is where, and I don't know. And you guys tell me if I'm thinking way too into this. This is where complexes get developed. You know what I mean? Like because this is it's not just a moment, right? Like a lot of people just have these moments. This is a moment in time that was filmed that we'll all be able to see, that anybody can reference, that anybody can bring up, that anybody can tweet about, talk about, whatever, right? So I think there's a difference. And I think that, see, it was easy to let that die down because
it doesn't live in infamy on the
they,
internet.
okay. And I think that the hard thing is you can't fight all of Beyonce's internet. You know what I mean? Like you gotta be like some part. I think it's going to take. I think she's going to look back on this and I hope that she's happy about where they've come and where they've grown to. But I think about shit we've been going through, not going through, past tense, going through, and how many years it took me to get to a place where I could even be nice. Like years. You might have did something to me.
You saying that that you think that Iyanna could be
I think she could
jaded by the situation,
traumatized
for years.
I think
To the point where it would enable their relationship to be successful.
They are having a lot of red flag conversations.
Oh well, for sure.
Okay, good conversations that they should be having. Let me be clear, but they're having a lot of red flag conversations that I feel like aren't being given the necessary weight that they should have.
Oh, for sure.
And I feel like it's going. I don't want to.
Ayanna has some naivete
I'm
to her.
that maybe it won't. But the woman in me who been married twice and lived a full life and whatever the case may be is kind of like,
yeah,
mama, we gotta be better. You gotta step them cookies up. You gotta step them cookies up. You always surprised. Like I really am. I'm honestly, I'm not. I'm a little upset about her even dealing with him. Not because outside of the situation, because granted it's a dating show, right? So maybe I'm giving it too much weight. But outside of that, all the theatrics that he did for that other chick, granted she doesn't see that. Then she didn't even see that part yet, right?
No.
So she doesn't see all the rest of this yet.
No.
Right. So we get back.
Honestly,
and you got to rewatch it. You think they're gonna be all right after that? Ain't no way.
Let me tell you,
I would have to cheat.
Honestly, honestly, I think the worst part of that was the part that he told her. Like to me, that was the worst part. That was the hardest part to watch for me when he went in the pod and told her like, well, I was feeling Mallory and you two was just back and forth all day, back and forth all day. And,
please stop doing this. It's making me uncomfortable.
Like that's what he was doing.
No, Joe is really good at this.
So tell him about the time.
Story time. So I don't watch Ozark any longer because I'm an empath and you guys, I'm really sensitive. So if I think I'm gonna get a nightmare about it, I can't watch it, right? So Joe will watch it and then he'll come back and give me the rundown on the show. So we're having drinks. It's Valentine's Day weekend. We're having drinks, and he's telling me the story, and I'm just like, it's riveting. Like he's telling me, oh my god, I'm like, what happens next? What happens next? And the bartender is like, oh my god, I'm thinking Jason Bateman is.
The bartender, I looked over and the bartender was watching too. Like,
yeah, me and him holding on, like, what else happened? And what else? I was like sitting. He did such a good job. So when Joe does this, I'm like, oh my god, he's acting, y'all.
We gonna book a commercial this year. We putting that.
That's right. Put it in the universe.
Straight up.
Damn right, Walmart.
But I think the hardest part to watch for me was watching him verbally tell her all of these things about Mallory. Like, to me, that was for her. I didn't think she was gonna come back from that. Like, him,
you know what?
crying balled up in the corner is, like, to me, lower on the totem
I
pole
just
than
want to
all of
hug
that.
this
I thought
baby.
that was a lot. That was hard to watch.
It was hard to watch. I do wish them the best. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't think Jarette is a bad guy. I just think that he's problematic.
It just was a rough, like, to your point, it is and you know, give us a mellow again, because we talk about people when we do Ready for Love. We tell people through the screen it's a dating show and it's 3,000 people on the show.
Yes.
So we say it's gonna get weird. The one, because in one of the episodes, the one
Right,
girl
we
got
give
mad.
grace then.
Yeah,
Yeah, we do, we
So
do. You're
I
right,
mean,
you're
I'm gonna
right.
try to give them. That's why I'm leaving them room to blossom afterwards, because I'm like, they had a weird start for
Yeah, because
sure.
this is only part one.
This is only part one, but I think the same way that we've seen people on Married at First Sight cry at the altar, I'm so not attracted to them, and now
Yeah,
they got
stupid.
kids. You know what I mean? Like, the same way that we've seen people realize the value in another human being and go, I should probably just straighten up and fly right, because this person is a good person and I'm 35.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen it happen before. And so that's why I'm like, I'm giving them that chance of, like, maybe Jarette will be like, you know what, Jared's homie might be like, bro, that's
Like,
a
are
good
you
girl.
crazy?
You might be tripping.
You know what?
So,
Maybe.
who
I hope
knows?
so. And I hope that it's in time for I hope so. I want black people to thrive. So, you know what I mean? Whatever they want to do that will give them more abundance, I want that for them. But I don't know what it is about. I just am not feeling this love triangle.
Well, the love triangle should be over now, because they go back home in part
Mm-hmm.
2, and that's where we'll pick it up the next video. They'll go back in part 2. They'll
Mm-hmm.
be home. It looks like really the only triangle that's still happening is the Shaina and Shayne situation.
We hope so.
So we'll see.
Well, I don't. I don't even want to say nothing else about it. If you have not already, make sure you are subscribed to this Mammy Tapping channel. If you want to know what's going on with the goings on with Joseph and I, please follow us on our socials. I'm at Zar Galore everywhere. Everywhere, Pinterest, TikTok, YouTube. I'm at Zar Galore. You want to know what kind of hair I'm wearing, whatever the case may be. I'm usually rocking it on the channel too. At Joe Connor 33. He's at the bottom of the screen. Make sure you're hitting us up and letting us know what you're thinking about this episode, this show, Married at First Sight. Any questions you want to ask us, we're going to do a Q&A
Q&A
soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, real soon. And we'll see you beautiful mother jumpers later. I need your drink.
Hey.
Bye.